Welcome to another episode of Thailand Truth Talks. Thailand looks like paradise, but beneath the smiles, the numbers tell a harsher truth. According to the World Values Survey, nearly 40% of Thais said they wouldn't want a neighbor of a different race, up from around 27% just a few years earlier. The WVS World Values Survey is regularly used by UN agencies, including UNDP, and academic researchers to assess social cohesion and informal policy, which strengthens the relevance of these figures. More than half said they wouldn't want an immigrant next door. That puts Thailand among the least welcoming countries surveyed worldwide, ranking near the bottom, alongside places like Libya and Azerbaijan. Compare that with neighbors. Singapore, where fewer than 1 in 10 feel that way, or the Philippines, which is much more tolerant. Even Malaysia and Indonesia score slightly better. The trend in Thailand isn't improving. It's getting worse. And those attitudes shape everything from visas to work to daily life as a foreigner. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on 5 hard truths you need to know before believing the paradise postcards. Welcome back to Thailand Truth Talks, where we cut through the paradise propaganda and give you the unfiltered reality of expat life in the land of smiles. I'm walking through Bangkok right now, and while you're seeing the bustling streets and vibrant life around me, I want to talk about what's really happening beneath the surface. Today, we're diving deep into 5 massive topics that every foreign retiree and expat needs to understand before making Thailand their home. Let me start with something that's going to shock a lot of you. You know all those feel-good stories about volunteering in Thailand? The orphanages, the teaching programs, the community development projects? Well, buckle up because the truth is going to sting. Thailand has become ground zero for what I call the volunteer scam industrial complex. And it's a multi-million-dollar business that preys on well-meaning foreigners while doing almost nothing for local communities. Now, before you start typing angry comments, let me break down the numbers for you. Here's what the official data shows. Thailand relies on over 1 million village health volunteers nationwide. UNICEF Thailand claims they helped 102,000 students with reading programs and reintegrated 1 million school dropouts in a single year. These numbers sound incredible, right? But here's where it gets interesting. When independent researchers actually investigated international volunteer programs like Projects Abroad, they found that only 10% of donations actually reached local beneficiaries. 10%. That means 90% of every dollar you thought was helping poor Thai children was going straight into the pockets of volunteer tourism companies. But it gets worse, much worse. The orphanage volunteering industry in Thailand has been exposed as a complete scam that's actually harming the children it claims to help. These institutions are deliberately keeping kids away from their families to maintain a steady stream of Western volunteers who pay thousands of dollars for the privilege of teaching English or building wells that don't need to be built. A 2018 academic review confirmed what many of us suspected. Short-term voluntourism benefits the volunteers' Instagram feeds more than it benefits local communities. These programs are designed to make Western volunteers feel good about themselves while extracting maximum profit from their guilt and good intentions. Now, I'm not saying all volunteer work is a scam. Local Thai NGOs like the Bandek Foundation in Chiang Mai show legitimate results, with 95% of their target children enrolled in school. But here's the key difference. These organizations are run by Thais, for Thais. with long-term community investment, not fly-by-night operations targeting gap-year backpackers. The volunteer tourism industry has created a perverse incentive structure where poverty becomes a product to be marketed to Western do-gooders. The more desperate and needy a community appears, the more money flows in from volunteer tourists. This creates a system where progress is actually counterproductive to profit. If you really want to help Thailand, donate directly to established local organizations. Skip the middleman volunteer companies. And stop feeding this exploitative industry that treats Thai communities like theme parks for Western saviorism. Now let's talk about something that every expat deals with, but nobody wants to admit. Corruption in Thailand isn't getting better. It's getting worse. And it's going to affect your daily life in ways you haven't prepared for. Thailand scored 34 out of 100 on Transparency International Corruption Perception Index in 2024, ranking 107th out of 180 countries. To put that in perspective, that's worse than countries like Serbia and Tunisia. But here's the thing. 10 years ago, Thailand's score was 36. So despite all the military coup, reforms, and anti-corruption campaigns, the situation has actually deteriorated. The statistics are brutal. 88% of Thais say government corruption is a big problem, and 24% report paying a bribe to access public services in the past year. 1 in 4 people. If you think you're going to come here as a foreigner and somehow avoid this system, you're living in a fantasy. Here's what this means for your daily life as an expat. Every interaction with government services becomes a potential shakedown. Need to renew your visa? There might be processing fees that aren't on any official list. Want to start a business? Prepare for mysterious delays that can only be resolved with the right donations. Having issues with your landlord or neighbor? The police response might depend on who's willing to pay more. Now, the government loves to point to improved World Bank doing business rankings, where Thailand climbed from 49th in 2016 to 21st in 2020. On paper, it looks like bureaucratic procedures got faster and more efficient. But here's what those rankings don't capture. The informal economy of corruption that runs parallel to the official system. Sure, you can register a business online now, but good luck actually operating it without navigating the maze of unofficial payments, relationship building, and face-saving exercises that keep the real system running. The digital improvements are window dressing on a fundamentally corrupt structure. For foreigners, this creates a double bind. You're excluded from the informal networks that actually make things happen, but you're still expected to pay into the system. You'll pay more, wait longer, and get less service than connected locals, all while being told that Thailand is modernizing and becoming more transparent. The worst part? The corruption isn't just at the street level. It goes all the way to major infrastructure projects, government contracts, and policy decisions. This means the entire system you're trying to integrate into is fundamentally unreliable and extractive. If you're planning to retire here, factor corruption costs into your budget. If you're starting a business, build bribe money into your operating expenses. If you're buying property, understand that the legal system protecting your investment runs on relationships and payments, not rules and procedures. Here's something that's going to make a lot of expat YouTubers angry. Thai attitudes toward foreigners are way more complicated and often more negative than the tourism marketing machine wants you to believe. The famous Thai hospitality? It's real, but it comes with conditions and expiration dates that nobody talks about. Let me give you the numbers that nobody wants to discuss. A 2016 Amnesty International poll found that 74% of Thais opposed granting asylum to refugees. Think about that. 3/4 of the population doesn't want desperate people seeking safety in their country. An ILO study from 2019 showed that Thai support for migrant workers had declined sharply since 2011, even though the economy depends on foreign labor. Now you might say, but those are refugees and migrant workers, not Western retirees and digital nomads. True, but attitudes don't exist in isolation. If there's growing resentment toward foreign others competing for jobs and resources, that sentiment bleeds over into how all foreigners are perceived. The regional variation is crucial to understand. In Bangkok and major tourist areas, Thais are used to dealing with foreigners and generally maintain professional courtesy. But step outside the expat bubble, and you'll encounter a very different reality. Rural areas, smaller cities, and younger demographics often harbor much stronger nationalist and anti-foreign sentiments. Social media has made this worse. Online Thai forums and Facebook groups regularly feature what locals call Farang hate content, where Western expats are portrayed as sex tourists, cultural colonizers, or economic parasites. The COVID border closures amplified these sentiments, with many Thais blaming foreigners for bringing disease and taking jobs from locals. Now, here's where it gets confusing. Expat satisfaction surveys like the 2023 Internations report paint a completely different picture. 82% of expats in Thailand say locals are friendly, and 78% feel at home here. How do we reconcile these contradictory data points? The answer is selection bias and bubble effects. Happy expats who speak Thai, respect local customs, and integrate into communities have very different experiences from those who remain in expat enclaves, expecting English language service and Western conveniences. The surveys also capture people who've already decided to stay, not those who left because of cultural friction or discrimination. The reality is that Thai attitudes toward foreigners depend heavily on context. Who you are, how you behave, where you live, and which Thai subcultures you encounter. A wealthy Western retiree in a Bangkok condo development will have a vastly different experience from a budget backpacker in rural Isan or a migrant worker from Myanmar. But here's what concerns me. The economic pressures that drive tourism and expat-friendly policies are creating resentment bubbling beneath the surface. Young Thais see foreigners driving up property prices in their neighborhoods while their salaries stay flat. They see Western retirees living better lifestyles than working Thai families could afford. They see their culture being commodified and simplified for foreign consumption. This isn't unique to Thailand, but it's particularly acute here because of the massive economic inequality between Western expats and local populations. Your comfortable retirement budget might be a Thai family's annual income, and that disparity breeds resentment, whether it's openly expressed or not. The key insight is this: surface-level friendliness doesn't equal deep acceptance. Many Thai interactions with foreigners remain transactional, professional, or performative rather than genuinely welcoming. Understanding this dynamic is crucial for managing your expectations and building sustainable relationships in Thailand. Here's a wake-up call that's going to hurt. If you're planning to live in Thailand without learning Thai, you're setting yourself up for a life of frustration, dependence, and second-class treatment. The English proficiency situation here isn't just poor. It's catastrophically bad, and it's not getting better. Thailand ranks 106 out of 116 countries on the EF English Proficiency Index with a score of 415, categorized as very low. To put this in perspective, Japan scores 457 and Malaysia scores 568. Thailand is literally at the bottom of the global English proficiency rankings, barely ahead of places like Cambodia and Myanmar. 20 years of English education in Thai schools, massive tourism industry development, and international business growth have failed to move the needle. While other Asian countries have made steady improvements, Thailand has stagnated or even declined in English skills. This isn't a temporary problem or a generational shift. It's a systematic, educational, and cultural failure. What does this mean for your daily life? Everything important happens in Thai. All government forms, legal documents, medical records, and official communications are in Thai. Bank procedures, insurance claims, tax filings, and property transactions require Thai language skills or expensive translator services. Here's where expats get themselves into trouble. They assume they can navigate Thailand's bureaucracy with English or hire translators when needed. But the reality is much more complex. Government officials, police, tax authorities, and legal professionals often speak little to no English. And even when they do, they're not comfortable conducting serious business in a second language. I've seen expats get completely screwed on property deals, visa applications, and business contracts because they relied on inadequate translations or misunderstood what they were signing. When disputes arise, good luck fighting a legal battle when you can't understand the proceedings or communicate directly with your own lawyer. The permanent residency and citizenship processes require passing Thai language tests. Many jobs officially or unofficially require Thai fluency. Banking, healthcare, and government services operate in Thai with minimal English support outside major tourist areas. But here's the part that really matters. Social integration is impossible without language skills. All the complaints about feeling isolated, not understanding Thai culture, or being treated as a perpetual outsider stem from the language barrier. You can't build genuine relationships, understand social dynamics, or participate in community life without speaking the language. The expats who thrive in Thailand, who build real businesses, who integrate into communities, who understand the culture beyond the surface level, are almost universally those who invested serious time and effort into learning Thai. It's not optional if you want more than a superficial tourist level existence here. Yet I see countless retirees and digital nomads arriving with no intention of learning Thai, expecting to live comfortably in an English-speaking bubble. They end up dependent on Thai partners, translation services, or expat community networks for basic life functions. This dependence makes them vulnerable to exploitation and keeps them permanently outsiders in the country they've chosen to call home. Learning Thai isn't just about convenience, it's about power, independence, and respect. When you can communicate directly with landlords, negotiate with vendors, understand what's being said around you, and handle your own affairs, you transform from a tourist into a resident. Without language skills, you'll always be at someone else's mercy. Now, let's zoom out and talk about Thailand's position in the regional competition for expat residents, because the landscape is shifting faster than most people realize, and Thailand is not winning the race for quality long-term foreign residents. Numbio's 2025 Quality of Life Index ranks Thailand at a dismal 170th globally with a score of 110.2. Compare that to Taiwan at 160.2, South Korea at 153.5, Japan at 188.8, Singapore at 157, and even Malaysia at 137. Thailand is getting beaten by virtually every developed Asian country on actual quality of life metrics. Sure, Thailand wins on cost of living with an index score of 35.3 versus Japan's much higher costs. But here's the thing about being cheap. You often get what you pay for. Thailand's pollution index is a staggering 75.6 compared to Japan's 38.2, meaning you're literally breathing poison to save money on rent. Let me break down what other countries are offering that Thailand isn't. Malaysia offers a similar tropical climate and affordable living costs, but with widespread English usage, better public services, and more developed infrastructure, and easier long-term residency through the MM2H program. For Western expats, Malaysia provides most of Thailand's benefits without the language barrier and with superior governance. Taiwan delivers a high-tech economy, universal healthcare, exceptional safety, and political stability. Yes, you need to learn Mandarin, but the economic opportunities, healthcare system, and overall quality of life far exceeds what Thailand offers. Taiwan is building a modern, developed society, while Thailand struggles with basic governance and infrastructure. Singapore represents the gold standard for Southeast Asian living: world-class infrastructure, rule of law, excellent healthcare, and a truly international environment. The high costs reflect genuine value in terms of services, safety, and systems that actually work. If you can afford Singapore, there's really no comparison to Thailand. Japan and South Korea offer ultra-modern societies with incredible public services, safety levels that are off the charts, and technological integration that makes daily life dramatically easier. Yes, they're expensive and cold, but they're also genuine first world countries with functioning governments and reliable institutions. Even developing countries like Vietnam and the Philippines offer compelling alternatives. Vietnam has incredible economic growth, a young population, and improving infrastructure. The Philippines provides an English-speaking environment, lower costs than Thailand, and cultural familiarity for Western expats. Here's what's really concerning about Thailand's competitive position. Other countries are improving rapidly while Thailand stagnates. Taiwan continues its high-tech development. South Korea modernizes its cities. Malaysia expands its expat programs. And even Vietnam upgrades its infrastructure at breakneck speed. Meanwhile, Thailand remains stuck in the same problems it's had for decades: political instability, endemic corruption, environmental degradation, poor governments, and an economy dependent on tourism rather than genuine development. The Thailand 4.0 initiative and infrastructure promises keep getting announced, but implementation remains slow and often corrupted. For retirees specifically, Thailand's advantages are narrowing. The warm climate and cultural attractions remain, but healthcare quality varies dramatically. Pollution is worsening, and the cost advantages are eroding as the Thai baht strengthens and local prices rise. The future trajectory looks increasingly problematic. Climate change will make Thailand's environmental problems worse. Political instability shows no sign of resolution. The education system continues failing to produce the human capital needed for economic advancement. Infrastructure development lags behind regional competitors. Most importantly for expats, Thailand's approach to foreign residents remains fundamentally extractive rather than integrative. The visa system is designed to maximize revenue extraction while providing minimal long-term security. Other countries are developing genuine immigration pathways and expat integration programs while Thailand keeps foreigners in permanent temporary status. If you're choosing a long-term base in Asia, Thailand increasingly looks like a lifestyle choice rather than a smart, practical decision. You're choosing charm and cheapness over quality and sustainability. For some people, that trade-off makes sense, but you need to understand what you're giving up and what risks you're accepting. Let me paint you a picture of Thailand's future that the tourism boards don't want you to see. While you're enjoying cheap street food and beautiful temples, the foundations of livability in this country are literally crumbling beneath your feet. Bangkok is sinking at a rate of 2 to 5 centimeters per year while sea levels rise. The city's groundwater pumping has caused massive subsidence, and many areas already flood regularly during monsoon season. Within decades, large parts of Bangkok could be underwater. Yet construction continues with no coherent plan for this inevitable disaster. The air pollution situation is beyond crisis level. Bangkok regularly ranks among the world's most polluted cities, with PM 2.5 levels that are literally toxic to human health. During burning season, northern Thailand becomes essentially unlivable, with air quality that's hazardous for weeks at a time. Long-term residents are developing respiratory diseases at alarming rates. But this reality gets ignored in favor of promoting tourism. Traffic congestion isn't just an inconvenience. It's a symptom of completely failed urban planning. Bangkok's infrastructure was never designed for its current population, and every attempt to expand roads or add public transport gets bogged down in corruption, incompetence, and political infighting. The promised high-speed rail projects remain largely imaginary after years of announcements. Water security is becoming a critical issue. Drought cycles are getting more severe. Flooding is getting worse. And the water management systems are inadequate for climate change pressures. Many expats don't realize they're living in a country facing potential water crises in the coming decades. The healthcare system quality varies dramatically between expensive private hospitals and public facilities that many expats wouldn't trust with their lives. As the expat population ages, the cost of quality healthcare are skyrocketing, and insurance companies are restricting coverage for Thailand-based policies. Power infrastructure remains unreliable, with frequent outages and voltage fluctuations that destroy electronics. Internet connectivity, while improved in urban areas, still lags behind regional standards and suffers from censorship and government interference. Waste management is an environmental disaster. Plastic pollution chokes waterways. Illegal dumping is widespread, and recycling systems are primitive. The environmental costs of Thailand's development model are becoming impossible to ignore, yet government responses remain inadequate. Here's something that long-term expats learn to live with, but newcomers need to understand. Thailand's political system is fundamentally unstable, and this instability affects everything from visa policies to economic planning to daily life security. Since 2006, Thailand has experienced multiple military coups, violent street protests, airport occupations, and dramatic policy reversals. The military remains the ultimate power broker, and civilian governments operate at their sufferance. This creates an environment where long-term planning becomes impossible, and policy changes can happen overnight. For expats, political instability means visa rules can change without warning. Residency requirements can shift, and the legal framework protecting foreign investments remain uncertain. The elite visa programs, retirement visa requirements, and business ownership rules exist at the pleasure of whoever happens to be in power, and there's no guarantee these policies will survive the next political transition. Economic policy suffers from the same instability. Currency controls, tax policies, and investment regulations change based on political calculations rather than economic logic. The baht's value fluctuates wildly based on political events, and capital controls can be imposed without consultation or warning. Street protests and political violence remain recurring threats, particularly in Bangkok. While most expats don't get directly involved in Thai politics, they can find themselves trapped in areas under curfew, dealing with cancelled flights, or facing security threats during periods of political tension. The legal system's independence remains questionable, with courts often making decisions based on political pressure rather than legal precedent. This creates enormous uncertainty for any expat dealing with serious legal issues, contract disputes, or property rights. Military conscription policies, censorship laws, and restrictions on political expression create a climate where foreigners must be extremely careful about any activities that could be construed as political involvement. Social media posts, business associations, or even casual comments can potentially create legal problems under broadly written lèse majesté and national security laws. Thailand's economy remains heavily dependent on tourism, which creates massive vulnerability to external shocks like pandemics, global recessions, or geopolitical tensions. The COVID-19 border closures reveal how quickly Thailand can shift from welcoming foreigners to treating them as potential threats. This economic dependency means that expat-friendly policies exist only as long as they're economically beneficial to Thailand. When tourism revenue drops, the welcome mat gets pulled back quickly. Visa processing becomes more difficult. Residency requirements get stricter, and the general attitude toward foreigners becomes more skeptical. The Thai economy's failure to diversify beyond tourism and basic manufacturing means it's increasingly falling behind regional competitors in terms of innovation, technology adoption, and human capital development. This economic stagnation translates into fewer opportunities for expats who want to work, start businesses, or contribute productively to Thai society. Currency volatility remains a constant concern for expats living on foreign pensions or savings. The Thai baht's value can swing dramatically based on political events, tourism flows, and global economic conditions, making financial planning extremely difficult for foreign residents. Banking and financial services for expats remain primitive compared to most developed countries. Opening accounts, obtaining credit, making investments, or conducting international transfers often involves bureaucratic hurdles and arbitrary restrictions that reflect Thailand's underdeveloped financial sector. Here's perhaps the most important point for potential long-term residents. There's a ceiling on how integrated you can become in Thai society, and it's lower than most expats realize when they arrive. Thai citizenship remains extremely difficult to obtain, with subjective requirements and arbitrary approval processes that can take decades. Permanent residency is limited to 100 people per country per year, making it essentially unobtainable for most applicants. This means expats remain permanently temporary, never able to fully settle or invest in Thai society with complete security. Property ownership restrictions prevent foreigners from truly owning land, creating complex workarounds and legal vulnerabilities that can be exploited. Business ownership limitations make it nearly impossible for foreigners to operate independently without Thai partners, creating dependency relationships and profit-sharing arrangements. Cultural barriers remain significant, even for expats who learn the language and try to integrate. The hierarchical nature of Thai society, the importance of family connections, and the regional networks that drive business and social life remain largely closed to outsiders. Educational opportunities for expat children are limited to expensive international schools, as the Thai public education system is widely regarded as inadequate. This creates enormous costs for expat families and ensures their children remain culturally separate from Thai society. Professional opportunities outside of English teaching, tourism, or foreign business development remain extremely limited. Thai professional licensing, regulatory restrictions, and workplace cultures make it nearly impossible for most foreigners to build careers in locally oriented businesses. Look, I'm not trying to scare people away from Thailand or pretend it's all doom and gloom. This country has genuine attractions. The culture is fascinating. The climate is warm. The costs are low. And many aspects of life here can be enjoyable and fulfilling. But the expat promotion industry has created a fantasy version of Thailand that doesn't match reality. And too many people are making life-changing decisions based on incomplete or deliberately misleading information. The YouTube channels showing paradise lifestyles, the retirement guides promising easy living, and the visa agents selling dreams are doing you a massive disservice by not explaining the full picture. Thailand works best for people who understand its limitations and plan accordingly. If you're coming here with realistic expectations, adequate financial resources, willingness to learn the language, and understanding that you'll always be an outsider with limited legal protections, you can build a good life here. But if you're expecting a Western quality infrastructure, transparent governance, environmental sustainability, genuine integration opportunities, or long-term residential security, you're going to be disappointed and potentially financially devastated. The key is making an informed decision based on accurate information rather than marketing fantasies. Thailand can be a great place to live if you know what you're getting into and plan for the challenges ahead. But it's not the retirement paradise or expat utopia that the promotional materials claim. And pretending otherwise does nobody any favors. Every country has trade-offs, and Thailand's are significant. You trade quality of life for cost of living, political stability for cultural charm, environmental health for tropical weather, and integration opportunities for tourist-friendly convenience. Whether those trade-offs make sense depend on your priorities, resources, and tolerance for uncertainty. The bottom line is this: come to Thailand with your eyes wide open, not with rose-colored glasses. Understand the corruption, plan for the instability, learn the language, respect the limitations, and build financial buffers for the unexpected challenges. If you can do that, Thailand might work for you. If you can't, you should probably look elsewhere. Thanks for walking with me through Bangkok today and listening to some uncomfortable truths about expat life in Thailand. If this video helped you understand the reality behind the marketing hype, please give it a like and subscribe to Thailand Truth Talks for more honest analysis of life in the land of smiles. And remember, the truth might hurt, but it's better than expensive delusions. Until next time, stay informed, stay realistic, and make decisions based on facts, not fantasies.